All right, it's 5 minutes after 7. Just done. Greetings to all of us who are present right here with us. This is our second lesson for the Tyap Wiki Bootcamp, the third edition, the season 3. And today we are going to continue from where we stopped. The Tyap photography is what we are looking at. So we're just going to go straight to the point with no introduction. But meanwhile, my name is Kanga, and I'll be taking us through this very session. And today we are going to have a little bit of a long lesson, and I hope that all of us will be able to flow, and we are encouraged to ask questions where we don't understand. You can just raise your hand in the middle of the lesson. If I can be able to see it, then I will get back to you. So last week, I will just ask a question from last week. If someone can be able to give us a summary of what we did last week, um, I will need at least one person to give us a summary of what we did last week. Um, in the next 30 seconds, would anyone be able to remind us? Okay, so yes,
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Last week we talked about literacy. What is literacy? And we also talk about photography, and we look into the archive street too. And I think that's the little one I remember.
Okay, it was very
Yeah.
good. So, is there anyone else who can tell us what we a little of what we did last week? It doesn't have to be everything, but just give us a brief summary of what we did last week.
Okay, about the literacy, we said is the ability to read and write fluently in a given language. Then we talk about the orthography, that is the rules uh, set for using the writing system of a language, like English, like Tyap, Hausa, so many of them. That's etc.
Okay, okay. So to quite so about the literacy, about the rules, can someone else now give us like at least one characteristic of a good orthography? We discussed about five of them. Can someone give us about just one rule or one characteristic of a good orthography? No, Ayangani, you have answered so much. Let it not be like
Not
it's
you.
only you that understand
Yeah,
everything that
some
we
quite.
did. Sankwai, uh, give us.
Um, One of the characteristics of photography is accuracy.
Okay.
Some about
So,
that.
can you give us like an example of accuracy, maybe using an English word?
What we did like last, we called the word chat and moved to the sound representation of K as K, and then the A sound, and then the T sound.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
awesome. So uh, if a particular symbol is accurately able to represent a particular sound, then that is accuracy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then great. So I don't know. Is there anyone who also wants to give something little about what we did last week?
Consistency. Yeah. So there is always a standard rule for the spellings and other things in the language. So it's already agreed that let's say we are spelling that THAT in Tyap, you cannot spell it THAD. You understand? So it's always consistent wherever you go. So that is the rule for the language.
Okay, so super good. Emily. So she's talking about rules. Every language has a rule. Also, even though our volume is not coming out so well from my end, but uh, thank you all. I think you can all clap for yourself. At least you will be able to understand. Okay, so that's the point. So yeah, so today we're going to go to our next lesson, and then I will just share my screen at the moment so that we can be able to forge ahead. Okay, so my screen is presently sharing, and this is our home page. Once again, I'm going to share again the link to the home page of MetaWiki to the group. So yes, so this is the screen. Sorry, this is the home page we are seeing currently. So okay, so uh, we we have just about 11 persons registered on this very home page, but I think not everybody is registered as a Wikimedian, so that's the reason why. But nevertheless, we will forge ahead and
Yes, sir.
see, yeah, and see if we can be able to register those who are present. So I think maybe Guakap, you would handle this very one. Maybe after today's lesson, anyone who is not registered on as a Wikimedian, you can show them the way on the Google, on our Meta page, on our WhatsApp group. Uh, you just give them the steps so that they can be able to register as Wikimedians, and then they can be able to register as participants on this very page. So there was something that I skipped last week showing us. By the time you open to that very page, that very link I shared in the chat, you see this very portion that speaks about the bootcamp content. So this bootcamp content you see under it dates, and then wherever you are in the whole world, you can be able to add these very classes to your calendar. For example, you can see date and you can see 10/07, 2027, 2026, and then you can see our next class coming on the 17th of July. So you can be able to just click on this very one. All of them are clickable. Once you click on that very date, you see that the time is already set, the date is already set. All you need to do is to add it to your calendar. What the calendar does is to remind you when we are very close to the time, then you see that it would notify you in the next 30 seconds. So if you are in the calendar, just give it a title, maybe lesson 3. Maybe you can just say Tyap Wiki Bootcamp, and then you can just save. That's all. So long as you are logged into your email, you can be able to do that, and you can also add the link to the GT meeting right here, or you can put it right here. Just replace whatever you see here and put the link, so that once the notification comes on your phone, you don't have to travel far away. You just click on the link and then it will link you. to the meta page or to link you to this very Jitsi core. So once you are done, you just click on save and then it will save in your calendar. You can do that for the whole calendar, for the whole dates that we have right there. Like my own, if you look at my time in my calendar here, you see that I've done that for the next for the whole sessions that we have coming. So all that I will need to do is just to wait for the notification to come, and then once it opens, the GT Meet is already fixed right here. So I just thought I should just share this so that we can be able to follow from our ends. So right here we have our slides connected to this very page as well, the slides for today, and then we also have our recording right here. So as I speak, the recording is going on and people can be able to watch it from outside. So these are our slides for today. Again, I'm going to share it to the group so that we can also be able to follow from our own ends right there. So uh, I'll open to the slides and then we begin. So this is our lesson 2, a guide to learn to read and write here. This is a short transition literacy course for beginners who do not have prior knowledge about how to write and how to read the Tyap language. Now, the next subtopic we are going to go on to is phonetics, or rather, it's a full topic of its own. Phonetics. What do you understand by phonetics? You can see that we have about 4 or so different creatures right here. And while this man is busy thinking about what phonetics is, maybe he's admiring the fonts that were used to write this very writing, or maybe he's looking at the sky to give him some answers. Then we have this dog, he's just looking at the window and he's hoping that we don't call him to ask him what phonetics is. So let it not worry, we're not going to ask. And then this very humanoid figure is busy leaning on this question mark, thinking about, I don't know what phonetics is. And this owl is also doing the same thing. And this cat, well, this cat is thinking that because it's the last one right there, that we're going to point at him, but let it not worry. So, what is phonetics? It sounds like a big grammar, but it's a very small thing. Now, phonetics is the study of speech sounds. Now, we learned from school that science is maybe a way of, no, not science. No, no, that's not the right. Let me look for something smaller. Uh, I can't think about anything right now, but let me use the word linguistics. Oh, that one is also a very big word, but we studied it last week. So linguistics is actually a study of languages. If you speak a language, but then you don't know what makes this language to be written like this, or what makes the verb come before the object, stuff like that. But if you study about how the sounds or the words of a particular language are arranged, which is also called the syntax. The syntax is the arrangement of words inside a sentence. If you study how they are arranged, a subject comes first, followed by a verb, followed by an object. In some other languages, the verb comes first, then the subject comes, and then the object comes. Some other languages, you have another arrangement differently. So the study of it is what is called linguistics. But for phonetics, we know that every language is made up of sounds, whether your language has sounds that are spoken out or they are spoken in, like the language we speak right now, that's Tiap language, and even the English language, they are spoken out, but there are some other languages that are like you suck them in. For example, in the Hausa language, there are some particular sounds like that's the right letter B, but then the B is like you are drawing the air inside instead of pushing the air out. Bah, instead of bah, you say ah, you are pushing it in by force. So they call those kind of bees hook bees. And then they also have ka. Instead of pushing out the ka, they push it in ka. And that kind of K, they call it the hook K. So the houses, they have both the K that is pushed out, the sound or the air is pushed out, and then they also have the one that the sound is pushed in. But in the Tiap language, we only have the ones that the sounds are pushed out. So, what makes people to actually understand all these things is the study of that very sound system, which is also called phonetics. So, all the types of the unique sounds that are made in a particular language are usually writable. Even though there are some particular sounds we may have heard from some particular languages, like the Khoisan languages in Southern Africa, you hear people saying, "Ah, bah, ah," you know, then you'll be wondering, how do you write, but linguists have been able to find a way of representing those sounds, whether it's or some of them they will write them with question mark or upside down question mark. Some of them they will write with exclamation mark. But still, people studied the sounds. Yes, they studied the sounds of those languages, and then they thought about how do we represent. There has to be one particular symbol that we use to represent that very sound. And then they also study about how the sounds are produced. Is the air pushed out or is the air pushed in? Okay, if it is pushed out, do we represent it like this? And then if it is pushed in, do we represent it like that? And then they also study the characteristics that help them to classify those sound systems. That's the reason why in some particular languages you hear that these sounds or this group of sounds are called plosive sounds because they sound like you are banging your mouth, like letter B, letter B, letter D, letter G, letter those are plosive, letter ba, or the sound ba sound, the ba sound. And then you also have fricatives, you have etc. There are many, but people have to first of all study how the sounds are produced before they are able to classify. Okay, do we call them plosives or do we call them this and that? And then we have speech sounds. What are the speech sounds? Those are um, those are classified into two. Now we have the phonemes, and then we have the graphemes. The phonemes are actually the sounds that are made, and then the graphemes are the symbols that we use to represent those sounds. For example, some languages uh, they may produce the bar sound, but they may not use this symbol to represent the bar sound, but they will call it bar. An example is the Turkish language. The Turkish language, they will write letter C, but they pronounce that letter C as ja, j, j. That's like Jat or Josh, for example. So you'll be surprised that the Turks would write Josh as Jos, like this. I mean Cos. Then you'll be wondering, how will you be writing Josh as Cos? Is this not cos? Because the English language, in the English language, letter C can have the sound s, and then it can also have the sound k. But in Tiap, if you write it as this, if you have letter C, then that means it is the cha sound, which is chos. But in the Turkish language, it is just. So it depends on what language, it depends on what they agreed in that very language to represent what sound. They have their phonemes and then they have their graphemes. Their graphemes may not be the same graphemes that we use in our own language. The graphemes of the Arabic language are not or may not be the same thing that the Hausas use. For example, again, we have the or they have the um uh, uh is it the bass sound? Is it the bass sound? I think it's the bass sound, but if I mistake, maybe we can adjust it later on. That's the hook B. Now they use the symbol for the Arabic tha sound, because the Hausa language doesn't have the tha sound, so they use the Arabic symbol for tha to represent the which is the hooked B in the Arabic alphabet. That's when they are using the Arabic alphabet. I don't know if we are lost, but I hope we are found, you know, if we get those. So these speech sounds are represented by graphemes, but then in pronunciation, we call the pronunciation phonemes. So speech sounds are divided into two once more. We have the phonemes and then we have the graphemes. The phonemes are the sounds that are produced from the mouth, and then the graphemes are the symbols that we use to represent those very phonemes. In the Tyap language, also, we have the issue of CH and C. Now, both CH and C, they all represent the same phoneme, which is the ch sound. Ch, that's like chair or children or uh, chance, for example, in the English language. Before now, in the Bible, in the New Testament, we have the CH being used to represent the cha sound. But later on, the Tiab language literacy board decided that the H should be removed from the cha so that we don't have uh, so much symbols or symbols that are not necessary to represent a particular sound. Because we don't have letter C representing anything, then why are we having CH instead? Why not we just remove the H and then it will still represent the cha sound? So it is still being debated. Some want it to be written CH and others want it to be written C. So don't get confused if your name is Chat and then you see CAT and then you shout, "My name is not a cat," but you are thinking in the Englishman's way. But in the Tiap way, your name is Chat, is pronounced Chat, even if it is written CAT without the H after the C. So, how are sounds produced? We're not going to go deeply into this. We are just going to have an overview of it. Everything starts from the lungs where the air is stored, and then the air pushes it to the windpipe. You can see the windpipe right here. From the lungs, it goes to the windpipe and then to the vocal cord, which is just around your throat right here. And then it now goes through the mouth and then the lips and then the nostrils. For the nasal sounds like and they are going through the nose, and then for the other ones, they are going through the lips. And then those sounds can be contracted through the palate. It is in the in the throat right here, or maybe through the tongue or so. Then we have sounds like kia, and then we have sounds like kwa instead of just ka. The tongue and then the throat, they help in adjusting the flow of air, and then that adjustment now gives birth to different sounds that we have presently in every language. And then we have, okay, does anyone have a question? Or maybe somebody is dozing off.
No, no question. No question.
Okay, so let me still take this one again. And then we're back again. Now we have about two ways or two classifications of sounds. We have vowel sounds and then we have consonant sounds. I'm sure that almost all of us are familiar with vowel sounds and consonant sounds. If we ask what are vowel sounds, well, some people will be able to tell us, but some other people who graduated a long time ago may not be able to remember. But then we'll just remind us what vowel sounds are. So in Tiap, we call vowels ayat and tai, but then the singular is atentai. Now, what are vowel sounds? Vowel sounds are speech sounds that just flow from the lungs to the throat and then to the mouth without any obstruction, without any barrier. And those vowel sounds can be classified into about three or more. We have short monophthong sounds. Those are sounds like a, e. Let's take note of this. This is a, and then when you have an underscore, this is e. This is a. It's just like the a of English language. A, e, o, u. The English don't write with underscores, so they pronounce this as a. So the same sound comes into Tyap and is pronounced as a as well. But whenever you see anything together with the symbol you already know, then that means just have it in your mind that the sound is going to change. So when you have an underscore right here, you are going to have instead of a. And then when you have an I and then you have an underscore, it's no more going to be E, it's now going to be U. So in Tiab, we have two of those special sounds in the vowel system. And then we then have the long monophthong sounds. They are the same monophthong sounds you are seeing, the same e, I, O, U, but then they are now made longer. So instead of a, we are having a. Instead of we are having instead of a, we are having a, and then instead of e, we are having e. Instead of we are having instead of e, we are having e. Instead of o, we are having o, and instead of u, we are having u. And then we have the diphthongs. The diphthongs are actually a combination of two monophthong, short monophthong sounds. So when you have a and e, it will give you I, a, and e will give you I, and then e and a will give you ia, e, a, e, a, ia, and then a and e gives us I, and then we have a and u to give us ow, ow, and then we have and then we have u to give us o. Then we have a, and then we have e to give us a, a. We have o, and then we have e to give us oi. Then we have a, and then we have a, and then that gives us air, air. So this is I, this is ear, this is ow, this is o, o, this is a, this is oi, this is air. In some other cases, we have triphthongs. The triphthongs are a combination of three monophthong sounds. For example, we can have aya, that's A-I-A, aya, and then we can have I-A-I, E, E-I. It depends on what language. It depends on what situation or which word. And then we also have the consonants. Let me go back to the screen. Can someone give us what word we use to describe the word vowels in here? What is the word for vowels in here? Can someone give us the word for
Yeah,
vowels in here?
yeah.
Okay. What is vowels? Goza, uh, Gozayed wanted to respond, but ah,
Yeah, Santiai.
okay, Ayatan Thai.
Santiai, okay.
Okay, so okay, then we'll go back again to our vowels. This is uh this is yeah. Now we are having long monophthong sounds. Ah, this is this is y, this is yeah. This is ts, ts. This is so we have ts, and then we have sun, and then we have ts giving us ts. If it is only t, then it is t, and then if it is only s, it is s. But we have t and s to give us ts, and then we have and then we have e giving us tsai. This is tsai, tsai. But if we have letter I in between here, then it will be ti. But we don't have e sound, so this is ts and this is a and this is e. So this gives us tsai. So that's why we have ya, tsen, tsai, ya, tsen, tsai. So once you understand the sound, or once you understand what sound each symbol is representing, no matter what spelling is given to you, no matter how long it is, you'll be able to pronounce it. You don't have to learn it. Once you understand the sound and what symbol it represents, this is a, this is a, this is ts, this is ts, this is I, this is a, this is this is un. But if the doesn't have an underscore, it will be an. But if it has an underscore, this is and then this is uh, un, uh, un. Then we are back again to the consonant sound. Our word for consonants is a ya, rap, a ya, rap. Well, a ya, and then ra, and then rap. We have and then we have ya, and then when we have g, we have ga. This is ga sound like go, green. But when we have gh in Tyap, we have ra. Ra is the sound representing or represented by G and H. For example, some people's names are, let's say, Zugwai, for example. Their name is Zugwai, yes, but then when they want to write the name Zugwai, this is how they spell their name. They will spell it like this. To spell it like this. Now in the Tyap orthography, this is Z. If I put an underscore, it will be Z instead of Z. And then this is Ra, Ra, and this is Ru, and then this is Y. So if you write it as this, then we are going to have Z Y. But we say Z Y? No. We say Z and Guai because this is a solid G, not a R sound. So when you have just a G sound, pure G sound, we write it as G and not GH. By the time you add a H to anything in Tyap, it's going to change the sound. So this is a ya, rap, a ya, rap. Don't mind my intonation, but just focus on the tone or on the sound of each highlighted symbol or symbol cluster. So we have the G and the H giving us the ra sound, ra, and then we have another ra, and then we still have the sound. So when we have GH A on the line, we are going to have r, not ra. Now we are having ra right here, and then we have r right here. So r and then ra. I don't know if you are taking note of what I'm doing, but I hope that we are actually following. Yeah, and then we have the p sound or the b sound because both p and b endings they are represented just by letter p. parallel. So we have ya gap, g gap, g gap. So that's the word we use for the consonants, and that's the plural form of it. The singular is gap. Just like the vowel sounds, we also have the monographs, and then we have the digraphs, and then we have the long nasal consonant sounds, and then we have the labialized, then we have the palatalized. These sound like grammar, but they are not grammar. Just look at the examples, and then your head will be clear. So the monographs in the Greek language, graph is just something that you write, and then mono means one. So you have just one symbol or one inscription. That's the monograph. So we have b, we have ch, we have d, we have f, we have g, we have h, we have j, we have k. There are many, even though this j is actually combined, is a combination of two sounds. So this is d and then the j sound coming together to form the j sound. But then we write it with a monograph symbol, which is just one symbol, j. And then we have the digraphs. The digraphs are just individual monographs combined to form two sounds or two letters. So you have the ch being represented by, if I use English language, this is C and then this is H. C, H come together to form the ch sound in the English language. And then in the example of this very one, in this very situation, we have G and B coming together to form the plosive ba sound. Ba, ba. So the English speakers or the native English people, they will pronounce this one as gba. But we know that we as Tiap speakers, we pronounce this one as ba sound. And if a Tiap speaker then pronounce this one as gba, or doesn't know how to pronounce this, then that means we're in trouble, serious trouble. So we have the ra sound. This is ba, this is ra, this is pa. Pa like pa, KPA is pestle. No, pestle is written as pestle, but it's pronounced pestle. So what you use to pound your grains. And then this is sha, and this is tsa. We don't have this one in Tiap, but some other languages like the Urobo language, they have this one. Ha. Even the Eten language spoken in Ghana, where it also seem to have this one also. So these are the digraphs, and then we also have the long nasal sounds. We have the nasals, which are pronounced when you close your nose. I mean, if you close your mouth, you'll be able to pronounce them like letter M. Mm, mm, nga, nya, mm, mm. But you can't do that with this one. B. You have to open your mouth to pronounce this
mm,
and this one. This is B. This is ch or s, and this is d. This is f. This is g. This is h. This is j. This is k. This is this is l. But you can close your mouth to pronounce this one. Close your mouth to pronounce this one. So anyone you are able to close your mouth and pronounce, they are called nasals. Nasals. So in Tiap we have these nasals. We have we have and then we have mm, mm, mm. And then we have the labialized consonants. Those labialized are the ones that we have W added to them. They are just pure monographs or pure monophthong sounds that are added, that W is added to them rather. So we have examples such as bois, and then we have foi, and then we have roi, and then we have moi, and then we have roi, and then we have poi, and then we have yo. There are more than this, there are plenty. These are just a few of them. And then we have the palatalized. The palatalized are the ones that you add y to them. That is e sound. So we have vi, we have chi, we have bi, we have he, we have pi, we have ki, we have ti, and then we have a combination of the palate pair consonant sounds. These ones are the one that YW is added to them. And the examples we have ju, d, yi, wo, d, yi, wo, you, d, yi, wo, you, ju. We have k, we have yi, we have wo, k, ki, k, ki, q, q. Then we have li, we have yi, we have wu, we have li, li, liu, 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 liu. Yeah, we have we have yi, but then we have a different sound in Tyap. Whenever we have ny, then we are going to pronounce this one as nya, 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 like nya nya in the FCT, nya nya. So we have ni, and then we have wo. So this gives us new, new, new. Sometimes it is U that is written instead of W, but it's still the same new. And then we have T, and then we have Yi, then we have Wu. Ci, Ti, T, Yi, Ti, Tiu, T, Yu, Tiu, Ju, Q, Liu, New, Tu. We have Bu, Chiu, Bu, Here, Peer, Here, Tie. Always remember that letter Y has the Y sound and letter W has the W sound. So by the time you add Y and W, you are going to have you, you, you. I hope you are not confused. And then we also have others. Others. So these others, it is believed that we learned it in our English classes from primary school to tertiary levels. So you have idea about these ones. That these ones are the ones that we have more concern because the Tiab language has it, but the English language doesn't seem to have it like that. So we have the next subtopic, which is alphabet. Now, what is alphabet? Alphabet comes from the first two letters of the Greek letters or the Greek alphabet. We have alpha, which is represented by this symbol, and then we have beta, which is represented by this symbol. If this were to be you, they would write BVETA, that is beta or vita. But they write it, the English language doesn't have BV, so they write it like this as they pronounce it, but the Greeks would pronounce it differently, vita, sometimes vita. And then in the world, there are thousands of languages. We have over 7,000 languages, and each of these languages have different symbols they use to represent different sounds, as we learned under speech sounds. Ideally, each sound should be represented by a single symbol, but then the reality is that in some languages, like English language, for example, we don't see that reality. For example, cha, we expect we expect to see letter C only representing the cha sound. For example, chair, but then the English are writing it ch. Why? I don't know. But in so many cases or in many languages, This is not always the case, just like English language. So the list of symbols may prove way too long for convenience. Some other languages, like the Hungarian language, they can combine like three letters to form one sound. Well, that's what they agreed to. And they will also have the International Phonetic Alphabet, which is the IPA. This very International Phonetic Alphabet, they are used to represent all the sounds of the human language. So even though some languages have different alphabets, this IPA is a unifier. There's only one IPA symbol for each sound of the word. And every language, if they are to render their language in IPA, they must use the same symbol. But if it is just normal writing, they can use any symbol to represent any sound. For example, this sound you are seeing is pronounced This one that looks like E inverted, this is But in the Tyap language, we write it A underlined. This short sound, we write it A underlined. But in some other language, like the Kanuri language, this is how they also write the sound. They don't write it as A underlined. They have this sound, yes, but they don't represent it with A underlined. They just write it as it is. Or they will write capital letter E upside down. The Hausa language also has this very sound, but they just write it as letter A without any underline below it. And then we have the sound. This one's is just like a short form of I. This is E, this is E, this is A, this is A, E, Meanwhile, this is A, this is U, this is O. So in the Tyap language, we have about seven vowel sounds, seven monophthongs. But some other languages, they have more than that or less than that. Now, the IPA symbols are usually put into forward slashes or they are put into square brackets. So that's the reason why if you go to some writings, for example, this Tyap dictionary, for example, we have chalk right here, chalk or chalk, chalk, chalk. And this is the way we write it in IPA, chalk, chalk. In Tyap, we choose to write it this way, but IPA, we write it chalk, chalk. This is an open O. This is G, even though we write it as K here, chalk. So that's the IPA. We represent it in square bracket or in forward slashes. And then if you look at this very table, you see all the sounds, not all the sounds though, just some of the sounds of the Tyap language represented in IPA. Some of us, if we are given this one, may not be able to read it because we have never studied IPAs, but they are very simple to write. This is this is p, this is b, this is f, this is v, t, d, c, z, t, z, s, l, nya, nya, cha, ja, cha, ja, sh, j, sh, j, sh, j, ch, j, nya, chi. This is palatalized cha. This is sh. This is j. Palatalized sh sound, shy. This is j. In theoretic jhy. This is r. This is ya. Ya. This is here. This is hy. Here. This is na. We write it ng. This is ka. This is g. This is h. This is r. KH, we write this as KH. This is GH. We write this sound as GH in Tyap. This is palatalized R sound. So this is ya, ya, GHY is the way we write it in Tyap. This is ba. This is ba, ba, ba. This is hua, We write it GHW in Tyap. Hua. This is Hua. HW, that's the way we write it in Tyap. HW, this is Wa. This is Hua. This is Wa. Meanwhile, this is Hia, HY. And this is Ha, Ha. So these are the pure sounds we have in Tyap and some palatalized and labialized sounds. But we have more than this in terms of labialized and palatalized in Tyap. This is the English alphabet. There are 44 speech sounds or phonemes in the English language. 20 of them are vowels, 24 are consonants amongst those 44 speech sounds. Now, all of them can be represented by just 26 symbols. You have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H up to Z. Meanwhile, when you combine some of them like C and H, you have cha. When you combine S and H, you have sha. When you combine T and H, you have tha. The same thing we have in here. So these 26 symbols are just letters that are representing all those sounds. So don't get confused. We may have more than enough sounds that can be represented by just a few symbols, which we call the alphabet. So we have done enough of English language and general studies. Let's go back to the Tyap language. The Tyap language. The Tyap language alphabet is called Zunzualiam Tyap, even though some will say Zunzualiam Tyap, Tyap, but we have Zunzu or Zunzu Aliam Tyap, Zunzu Aliam Tyap. The Tyap word for sounds is Ngungwat. Meanwhile, just one sound is Ongwat. In Tyap, just like the English language, we have many sounds, but then all these sounds, as many as they are only represented by 24 letters of the Tyap alphabet. Now, those letters, those 24, just like in English, we combine them to form other sounds. Like we combine the G sound and the B sound to make the B sound. And then we combine the K sound and the H sound to make H sound. And then we can have that is in combination of two letters. And then we can combine three letters. We can combine the K, the H to give us H. And then we now have letter W added to make three letters that will give us the Hua sound or the labialized H sound. And then we have letter T and letter S. This is T. And then we have W to make up Chua sound. Chua. Sometimes we combine them four in fours to give us other sounds like R, the Y, and the U to give us U. It could also be W here. So it is still the same sound, U. And then we also have U, U, because when you have J and then Ha, we have Ja. When we have Ya, we have Ja. And then we have U, gives us U. So we have 2 minutes to 8 o'clock. As I said earlier on, this lesson is a bit long, so maybe we'll fetch 30 minutes of your time and add it. But be happy because you are learning more. That's if truly you are attentive. Unlike the English language alphabet, Tyap has 24. English has 26 because Tyap doesn't have this Q and doesn't have X. We only have X in the IPA to represent the H sound. H in IPA. Meanwhile, some other dialects of the Tyap language, for example, the Takat and the Tuku, they have this K sound. For example, Ngwante, Ngwante. If they want to say the child, they'll say Ngwante. That K is actually a Q right there, even though the attacker they write it with KH. Meanwhile, that KH is representing H in Tyap. Well, it's confusing. And then someone asked in the last class, I think PJ Twins, if we have names for the letters of the Tyap language alphabet. and it was just verbally said, but then this is the practical writing. So we are going to sing this one out together, but I'll sing it just once and then we all will sing it together. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, R, C, T, U, V, U, Y, Z. One more time. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, R, C, T, U, V, W, Y, Z. So I think all of us will sing this one out. So please unmute your mic and then we sing the alphabet together.
Open your mouth very well.
Yes. So I will count from 1 to 3 in Tiap. Nyum, Fern, Tat, Eta.
Uh,
Uh, G,
B, C,
She,
D,
T,
A,
V,
C, E,
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 G,
Ki,
Ni,
Li,
Mi,
O,
Mi,
Two
Ni,
is me. Wait,
O.
which one is two is
V,
easy?
We are not following. I know that the network is delaying some people's
Are they
input, but
shy? Let me see
thought.
how many people are.
So you need to go to Yoruba schools and Edo schools to see how they sing their own.
Yeah,
So
if you
we
look
have to
at it,
sing it
some of them have
also.
not, a lot of them have not unmuted their mic.
Oho,
Only
talk,
few unmute their mic.
talk. So please let's unmute our mics. Can we all unmute our mics? Can we all unmute?
I think only two people unmute. Judy and Sankwai.
Okay. So the rest of us who have not unmuted, can we all unmute?
Nice. Please.
So I think it's as if some of us are not hearing the whole thing, or maybe some just on their. Okay, she said,
Unable to.
Liliana says she's unable to unmute.
Let me see.
Okay, so maybe the few of us that have been able to unmute, maybe we'll just continue. So 1, 2, 3, go.